This video is brought to you by Midway USA. Support the channel by choosing Midway for your shooting and outdoor supplies.
All right, Henry, it's game time. Welcome back to Range Talk. This is First Shots, and we are taking a look at one of what I would describe as the throwback, like OG best 1911s around in that production $1,500 price point range. No, not that one. That one.
This is production in the 1,500. Well, okay, a little bit more than 1,500 for this one.
Guys, we're taking a look today at the Springfield TRP operator. This one has the full length rail. These are, I think, in many cases widely considered some of the more desirable Springfield TRPs from like the early 2000 era. Mm-hmm. And Henry, do you realize we haven't actually profiled like a good old fashioned single stack 45 caliber 1911
so, I mean,
on this show?
It's easy to make fun of 1911s nowadays. I don't know. I mean, partially that's like the internet's thing to pick on. But when we first got into shooting, Josh, 1911s were kind of considered like an expert's firearm. Because think of it like mid 2000s.
Yeah, like 2001 to 2005, 2006, 2008. That was when there was the whole Glock versus 1911 debates were coming out. We should do a separate session on that.
We should. But that was also the era when Delta was still running 1911s. And guys like Jeff Gerwich were taking vintage items like this into war in Afghanistan and Iraq, right? So I know it's your first shots, but this is actually my first shot on my Two World Wars, 1911. 1943, Remington Rand, CMP, surplus 1911, ladies and gentlemen. And Josh has this
is like my version of the 1911. It's the tactical version.
But it has an interesting history that actually this time Josh ended up telling me a history story about.
Wow. Very shootable.
Yet another session of rainbow brass for Henry to enjoy.
Very shootable gun. Love it. Yeah, so to Henry's point, I actually didn't even know this when I got this.
Yeah.
I just knew that this was considered like the 1911 to get. This was the tactical 1911 that was the desirable one from the era that I started shooting in. It was the one that people I saw running in courses and classes and whatnot. And I mean, it's pretty sweet.
I mean, it's Springfield TRP. I remember when we first got into it, that's when Kimbers were still good.
Well, that's when there was still a Kimber custom shop, right?
Yeah. So I was rocking my Kimber, like Gen 1 Kimber stainless.
Yeah.
From the custom shop.
Yeah.
And it was considered the expert's pistol, like we were just talking about.
Well, and a lot of it, I guess, at least from the Springfield side of the house, and where this story begins with the history on this gun, is Springfield participated in the FBI HRT trials in the 90s and won those trials with, I believe, what was their professional custom shop model.
Okay.
And then the TRP line, which is Tactical Response Pistol, was something that they released, which is not the same as the one that won, but supposedly was like the production semi-custom variant of that pistol to some shape and degree.
So it's actually a service pistol. Is a cool thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's an HRT service pistol.
Yes. Yes.
That is cool.
Yeah. And again, what I think, I knew none of this until we started doing research for.
Drop a few more. Drop a few more.
With this?
Oh, yes. Use a GI mag. It's supposed to work.
Look at.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have the jet funnel right there.
It works.
Seems very shootable.
Yeah,
that's kind of what you would expect, though.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I knew none of the history behind this particular gun when I got it. I just remember back in the day, like this was the cool guy gun that I couldn't afford back when I first got into started shooting, right? Like it was all we could do to scrape together money for like a Glock or a CZ or whatever.
Because that's right. Because the two pistols that I had back then was the SP01 and my 1911, the Kimber.
Yeah.
And those were the only two.
Yep, and it was all we could do back in the day. I remember Springfield XD.
Oh, that's when the XD came about, and it was kind of riding the coattails of the
It was
TRP.
the Springfield, right?
Because and unfortunately nowadays that's kind of now the meme of the trope and the meme of the XD has been dragging down the name
of
the TRP from the newest shooters.
That's right. And so it's very interesting how we go from, like, you know, how we evolve within what we can afford, where we apply our effort to. But I remember seeing these back in the day and thought, this is the coolest looking gun ever.
Yeah. Like,
I want one so bad I could never afford to get one. And then recently, this goes back maybe 2 years ago. I haven't shot this in 2 years, Henry.
It's technically not your first shots, but you haven't shot it much.
I've shot this like maybe a couple mags.
Okay.
Just seeing how it ran. And it was nice.
I will say this, the annoying thing about shooting 45 is that you're shooting 45 because for the show's purpose, we stock up 9 to the roof.
Yeah.
But when it comes to 45, like, I have this laxative ammo that's been sitting in our inventory since COVID.
Dude, this thing is so shootable.
And so my curiosity is, like, how does it compare to my German 1911?
Well, stop that. Try this first. Try this first.
I will. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Just on the first shot. Part of it is you've got weight in the front.
Yeah, there's a light and a full length rail, right?
But the other part of it, you could see this? Take the mag out. Here. You hear any rattle? Ladies and gentlemen?
There's no rattle?
You hear anything? No. Take my 2 World Wars. Oh yeah, baby. It actually has been in 1 World War because this was made in 1943.
Nice.
And so it's the legacy of the 2 World Wars, but it only got to participate in the World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, the Cold War era, and then all the way up to Afghanistan. So that's the only resume that bullet points this one has. Whereas this one obviously has a stronger resume. But no, that's to mess with Josh because...
Go on, let's see you get a few
I just
more
had
shots
one shot on it. Oh, shoot.
Hey, there's a safety on that gun.
My bad. Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty sweet.
Yes.
This actually reminds me of, that does feel like the Kimber custom shop that I used to have.
Right?
It's really tight when you shoot it. The trigger pull is really, really crisp. I mean, it's a custom 1911, right? Well,
semi-custom,
like a high-grade production 1911.
So I think it's worth probably mentioning here a couple points on this then.
Mm-hmm.
So as I understand it, Springfield actually discontinued the TRP operator line, like as of a couple years ago.
Why?
Or a year or two ago, and then reintroduced it just as the TRP again. Maybe it's still the operator, but it doesn't, like, the markings are different and stuff on it. So you see here how, clear gun.
Yep.
See here how it lists operator, and then on this side, TRP.
Yeah.
So now it's stamped TRP on the slide.
Interesting, because this is what I remember the most was the TRP on the backside.
Yeah, right.
Whoever did that, I mean, it's so stupid, stamping that stuff offset and at an angle, but those are the little small things that you stamp on there that you remember. And the less is more.
Yeah.
I hope new Springfield watches this video and realizes that you don't need to put a grip zone to understand that just need a grippy grip zone, and people will get that it's the grip zone.
So what are some of the things that, like, you have a very bone stock, GI 1911, but
this is literally the bone stock GI 1911.
But so like, obviously, like, all of the accoutrement and accessories that are added here are going to be contrasted dramatically against that. But one of the things, what you've got on here, we've got front strap checkering,
mm-hmm.
and rear on the mainspring housing checkering, and I think yours actually has checkering on the mainspring housing.
light checkering.
This is not light. This is
that'll dig. That's for a glove shooting.
This
right?
is
that's for shooting with a glove.
Yeah, this is rip of the old hands open. It does have G10 grips that it comes with, but it also comes with these like skateboard tape version ones.
I like those grips.
For me, shootable wise, I'm going to use these.
Yeah. They don't look pretty, but it really matches that FBI HRT profile of a pistol.
You have all of your serrations cut into the side. You got this one up front for the old press check and or this version.
I mean, how often do you actually press check from the front?
That's how I press check if I'm going to. This is how I press check. Yeah. The sighting system on this, you've got a 3-dot sight with an adjustable rear. They also have versions of this that had non-adjustable rears as well, just like the stepped wedge version of the rear.
I wonder if we could find pictures of the FBI running those things.
Again, it's not exactly this pistol. It's another Springfield model that this was then, like, I think released as like the accessible version of what they were doing.
Kind of like what SIG does with the M17 and then the civilian
I
M17.
think so, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, what I would say straight away, like all the stuff that people normally talk about who are 1911 aficionados, I'm not that. I don't know like all of the stuff to talk about with this, but I do know that when I go to shoot it, I'm trying to shoot it like a 9mm, and as you can see, when I was doing pure doubles, they were landing a little high.
So you can't shoot it like a 9mm.
Well, I don't know. Let me just see.
No, hold on. It's not a 40 cal.
Let me see if I can actually.
Go ahead.
No, I'll see like in the head. Yeah, I'm not quite returning it fast enough. Off the left on those. Yeah. Just trying to stare at the target and just slam the rounds in. Need to practice more.
So hold on. You just had a few shots with that. I want you to experience the origins of where it came from.
Yes. I can tell straight away the recoil spring in this is gonzo, bro. There is no recoil spring in this.
Well, okay, part of it. Part of it, you're used to shooting custom shop 1911s and not GI 1911s. Part of it, for the GI spec, this is the original spring spec. And this is a refreshed one. So this is the original, what you would expect from the factory. This is not like one that had been worn down and had not been refurbed. This has been refurbed. You look at it, look at the trigger, the mag release, look at the barrel, look at the hammer. All of the small parts have been changed out, and the frame is a replacement frame. So this one has been overhauled. The only one original thing that this has on it is the frame. So it has been Arsenal returned to what they would say the TDP spec. It wasn't called the TDP spec back in the
I mean, that feels like the recoil spring in that feels as if it's in a 9mm 1911. That's what this feels like.
One thing that I noticed immediately is the lack of recoil in that thing compared to other 1911s, and you're running stendos.
The standard capacity on this is what, 8 rounds?
7.
7 on that. This one, the new ones are 8s. Do a quick reload here, because again, in spite of the fact that we are loaded up with like 8 mags, that still is not very many rounds of 45.
Okay, so yours is really fast, and it's very flat for a 1911. But see, the correct way of shooting my ye old World War II 1911, let me demonstrate. Like, you have to be like, kind of like laying backwards. You're wounded in your stomach.
Exaggerating the recoil, missing, hitting a target the size of a tank.
Is when the plane drops the round onto the tank and it explodes around you, and you look at the 1911 like, wow, power. I hope people get that reference. I hope that's not too long drawn out. Go ahead.
I sent the first one. Come on. Same exact thing.
So what are you getting on the input that's dropping?
I have really bad support hand grip. I'm not mating it well.
Yeah.
And as a result, I'm not applying the pressure. I'm missing left, so I'm not applying the pressure.
So ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing one of the fundamental things when Josh and I go to the range. Josh is seriously training. While what is Henry doing? Memeing Tom Hanks sitting in front of a tank and enjoying a lovely brass shower.
Yeah, I don't know. This feels like pretty good. I think I could probably get pretty fast with this. And again, one of the things that's interesting here is we are shooting 45. We shoot 9mm almost exclusively now for the show, both for logistics reasons and because frankly, like,
that's what the standard is right now.
This might, that might piss off some people, but 45, kind of
tired. The U.S. military has gone to 9mm since 1985. I mean, that is what the standard is. Frankly, SF was trying to hold on to 45 for a while, and FBI HRT using this.
Oh no! Oh no, it's a disaster. Dude, we couldn't get through a full video without a 1911 malfunction. All right, now let me see. I'm just gonna shoot one after the other here. All right, well, it recovered. 1911s never jam.
Do people actually say that?
No, I think one of the great videos that came out in the early 2000s was like the 1911 versus Glock thing where they show the 1911 jamming over and over and over and over again.
But I mean, it does. It just does. People forget how old the design is. It's 113 years old since the year of adoption, which it had precursor models before that time. So it's more than a century. I mean, this design is more than a century old. You know what else was around the... You know what else was around during this time frame? The Luger P08. The cartridge that was designed for this.
Dude, imagine if there was a modernized Luger like this.
Yeah, well, there is no modernized Luger for that reason, so...
Hey, are you guys enjoying hanging out on range with us? Well, maybe you'd like to join the Patreon and hop into the private Discord. We'll see you guys there. Let's get back to it.
This is an exceptionally shootable gun. I am reminded whenever I shoot a 1911, just like how awesome they are to shoot. Not amazing to carry, not amazing to
compete with because of the jams.
Maybe not amazing for adverse conditions. You got to take good care of them. You have to have one that's really tuned very well for it to continually function. The magazine capacity may not be the best. It's a heavy son of a gun.
I mean, frankly, it's one of those pistols that enthusiasts look at them and they just fit right for an enthusiast. But when it comes to actually using, Jeff Gerwich is the last person I know who's actually carried one to war. Like that.
And what was that? That would have been early to mid 2000s?
I think he carried it all the way up to the teens. Like when Jeff and I were both in Afghanistan around the same time. We didn't know each other, obviously. But I still remember hearing stories from dudes who were working with SF going like, hey, dude, I saw a guy carrying a cocked and locked 1911. I was like, 2013? And turns out, yeah, Jeff confirmed that. He was one of the guys who would cock and lock 1911s in the field. But where does that really go back to? I mean, it's an antiquated design. It's been around for way longer than it should be.
Over 100 years old.
I mean, that said, your M250 cal's also been around for a long time. But it just goes to show that there are certain designs when you capture when you have a good design that is developed in a right time for the right unit military, and then it also captures the right pop culture and enthusiast circles. They live on forever. And I don't think 1911s will go away anytime soon. Certainly not as relevant as some other stuff, but I don't think they're going to go away.
No, because I think that there is a place in the enthusiast world,
Yeah.
even if this may not be the operable, like, duty gun today. There's still a place in the enthusiast world for something like this.
Well, dude, we should do more shooting with that, get more of a feel for it, and actually do like a bigger, like a longer video on
Yeah.
from 1911 to late 1911. I think that would be from 1911 to 2011. I would say
Well,
that would be pretty neat.
that would be wild, yes.
Yeah.
Let
So
us know. Let us know if that's something you'd like to see. More 1911 content? Yay or nay?
716 is Steel 96, 4 Vic, 8 packs, Redcon 1, green to green. How copy, over?
Steel 96, this is 716, roger, over. 16, Steel 91, 1 pack, green, green, over. This is 716, roger, over.
16, Steel 92, 1 Victor, 2 packs, Redcon 1, over.